she looks around and she says, "Yeah, yes, it's fair. I should answer your questions." And I guess since you took that during the game, she looks at you and kind of scowls. "You can have it. If I had taken anything, I would have kept it too." And she kind of gives like a little laugh. "So, what are your questions?"
Well, first I want to get Kenny up. Now, calm down, Kenny. You won, Kenny. Calm down. Drag him on over.
Oh, well, as long as I won, then. At least that's how I'm going to tell it when we get back to town.
That's what I heard. That's what I'm telling everybody.
That's a good friend there, Bard. And I'm out of it for now.
Okay. So, anybody willing to speak or ask questions, you can go right ahead.
You really don't want me doing that right now.
And the well, you're kind of out of it, so you're off the list of questioners.
I'm not sure what the group had in mind for questions, but I know personally, speaking to you as a spirit of the earth, I was wondering if you knew whether there was any good gem deposits.
Yeah, what?
Oh,
I don't know what these guys are after.
that's a lovely
I'm
question. That's a
I assume
lovely
you're asking
question.
in Sylvan.
Sure, this can be going on in Sylvan. They don't have to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You should probably go with that.
She says, "Oh, that's a lovely question." She claps her hand again with a slop pop. "So, one and done for you." She looks like she's looking around on the ground, like something is on the ground. And she's squinting. I'll do you this kindness once. Do you want the closest one or the biggest one?
The biggest what? Gems we're talking, right?
Of course.
If the quality is there, that's the one I want. I'm willing to do a fair trek to get it.
Oh, well, I smell I think smell's the right word for that. Oh, whatever you mortals think. There's one all the way over there, and that mount's over there. So she points towards the forested foothills of the mountain. And you can see that there is a stone kind of, like there's a lot of dirt, there's a lot of trees and things like that, but every once in a while you see like a collection of rocks. And she points up the hill up to that peak of rocks there. She goes, "Oh, right up there, that would be the best place. For quality, as you say."
I believe my companions had some further questions for you. That'll do me just fine, though.
Two-part question. Who's been summoning with the amulets, if you know? And what's your name? We never found out your name.
Which one do you want to ask me?
I started with a two-part question. Never said we couldn't have two-part questions.
That was great.
Well, I've never said it, but it's to be understood. Everybody knows a question is a question. There is one.
Part the first and part the second.
This little gnome fellow already owes me several for questions beyond the first I answered. I guess you want to owe me as well. Two-part question. Just this once and done, I'll do this. And she looks before, and she says, "Before I answer this, none of you others don't even think. I don't want to hear a whisper of a thought about two-part questions, or three parts, or whatever, however high you think you can count."
What, round 2, round 3? I'm ready. Let's go.
Calm down, Kenny. Calm down.
We're not drinking yet, Kenny. We're not
I attempt
drinking
to
yet.
restrain Kenny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Uh,
All right, then.
Dwarf, you do not get such a question. You lost. So,
I didn't lose. You went down first.
That was a victory swim. Everybody knows what that looks like. Mortals, your two-part question now. Well, out of game, I forgot. What was it?
Who had been summoning, using the crystals to summon, and what was your name?
Well, the first is I don't know. But I know who has them in their possession. These crystal things. And I am, as everybody knows, I am Modir Drula, as I have been called forever. As my house has been called forever. This is my house. You are in my house. No more two-part questions, you understand? She gets very... This is probably the nastiest and angry you have seen her during the entire fight. And everything is over this two-part question thing. You have pretty much brought a knife to a gunfight, as far as she's concerned.
I raised my hand. What about follow-up questions?
Those will cost you... Those will cost you the same as the gnome. He's already in 3 questions deep. It's funny that she's explaining this to him, but did not explain it to Gambit.
Oh, it makes perfect sense, actually.
Ma'am, Modir Jula, ma'am.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Of course you may. Cousin.
Could you tell us who has these here amulets that causing your followers to be summoned and enslaved?
Yes, there is a group of brigands, or whatever you'd call them. People that go around and they're not really one with the land. They just take what they want and hurt whom they desire. Those type of people. Things. There were some of them that have tried to round up some of my children here and enslave them. They even tried to slave me.
Well, I've seen lots of bandits. Now, without asking another question, could you be specific as to which bandits? Without asking another question, you understand?
Her eyes turn to slant. She says, "This sounds like this is a second part to a question."
I cannot speak your language as the gnome can. I'm imprecise in how I speak. So my question may not have been worded properly. If you think that's all I can get, then that is fine by me. I don't want to wrestle you no more. Ma'am.
Well, you can have the one who stole my crown's question. She points to him. It's like, that crown was made of the things they tried to enslave me with. It was really a foolish thing to try and do such a thing to me. While they were gone, I pretended to be I played a little game and pretended to be as were the other creatures. And then I simply just broke them when I felt like it. And made that beautiful crown that you are now holding.
Well, I turn to Everin and say, well, Everin, do you mind if I use your question to ask which specific bandits, where they are, or some such question?
Go ahead, Silverthorn.
Modir Jula, ma'am, could you direct us or give us some direction specific enough for us to find these specific bandits? That way we can deal with them so they don't bother your children anymore.
Oh, that would be lovely. Well, last I saw them, I do not know where they reside currently, but last I saw them, they went up there. And she points to a path that seems to go into the forest. I believe they went up that trail towards the mountains.
It's the same mountain that has the gem that we don't know about?
She definitely pointed in pretty much the same area, but that trail might go anywhere. It might not necessarily go up to that mountain.
Well, thank you kindly, ma'am, for your consideration and your information.
You're welcome. Such a polite cousin. I hope to see you again. We can play a game.
Well, that may be true, but if we play again, I'd want to play with rules of my tribe, because I don't understand your rules, ma'am. I'm just sorry to say.
Oh. Well, the rules are quite simple. I play, I have fun, and sometimes I win, and sometimes I don't.
Like today.
And then I'll head over to where my actually I take my water skin, I punch a little bit on Kenny, and I use the rest of my water skin to clean off my head and my hands.
She is shunning the dwarf when he said that, as if she's just ignoring him now.
Well, I'm gonna, since everybody else has asked their questions, I'm gonna stand up wobbly and do I have it right that her name is Morir Drulog? Was that her name?
No, that's awful.
Well, what was her name?
Modir Drula.
Modir.
Yeah.
Gotcha. He stands up. He's still wobbling. Well, that was a fine game, and I'm willing to call it a draw.
She snorts.
My question has to do with something I thought of while my head was spinning a bit. This whole bog is your house?
Yes.
Okay. My question then is, does the woman who farms the peat have your permission to do so?
Oh, yes, I don't pay her much mind. She can do as she wishes as long as she doesn't harm my children.
Fine then. I don't think she has a mind to do that as long as they don't bother her or what she's farming.
Of course not.
All
I
right,
haven't
then.
seen her around today. I expected to see her again.
Well, she sent us because she was afraid of your children and did not want there to be because they managed to get into her wagon in town and eat a bunch of the peat. I have a feeling it was some of those that were enslaved by these bandits. But I wanted to make sure that she would be safe if she came back to pursue her business.
There was some in the village. Did they have those things upon them?
Yeah, that's what we got them.
Does that count as one of Gambit's questions back?
Are you asking if it does? She seems with glee, excited that you're asking yet another question. No, it doesn't, but thank you for asking. You can see her, like, trying to count certain things on her hands and getting more and more excited the more she is counting. So,
Well,
Master Dwarf,
I think we've lost enough for today.
Kane, is it? It's an interesting name. It reminds me of home.
Perhaps.
Kane. The mud creatures that you speak of were not my children, or if they were badly abused by those magic things. I do find from time to time another child washes down out of the mountain streams. And some of them are not mine, so I make them leave.
Understandable.
You do, I mean, probably all mud mephits look the same to you, but these do seem to be more goblinoid in shape and less thin and emaciated. They seem to be kind of like stocky and thick. More like chubby children instead of the thin, emaciated look of the mud creatures.
Well, now I'll know the difference. These are the first I've seen of your children or their type, so now I'll know. I appreciate that bit of knowledge.
Okay, she goes back to skipping.
I will wander off while she's skipping.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick up the rest of my gear that I dropped and then leave too. So
Okay.
before she, yeah.
The mud mephits have dispersed and aren't a ring around you anymore.
I'm gonna make sure Kenny's stabilized and everything so he can get hit. Go ahead and get moving.
Okay.
I was at 0 hit points, so I'm not sure I can go anywhere without assistance, right?
You do feel like you're starting to feel better. Perhaps she wasn't hitting to kill you. You think that she wasn't necessarily striking you with the idea of you dying. As you're getting further away, and as you've had more time to kind of just sit and rest a little bit, you notice that you're not feeling as beat up as you were. You're gonna have bruises, you think, but you don't think you're in danger of dying like you would normally be at 0 hit points.
So whenever we can rest would be good, because I'm down to like one hit point also. So
okay, you guys gonna go back up to the wagons?
Yeah, I have a tent. I'll set my tent close to the wagons and offer any. I guess Kenny, this would be the worst hurt up.
He's hurt the worst.
He can use the shelter or whatever.
Okay.
I can sleep in the back of my wagon too, so it's
Oh, everywhere.
yeah, whatever gets me, laying down flat, I'm happy.
Well, I pick up my gear and we leave, and now that I've cleaned off my head a little bit, I can put on my headband without getting my feather dirty. And we get back to the wagons, I'll start trying to make those stupid mud bricks that she wants.
Okay, anybody that took damage directly, just a clarification, anybody that took damage directly from Modir, after a short rest, it will be gone. Anybody that took damage from hitting each other or falling or being lit on fire or anything like that, I don't know, anything else that happened, like Gambit, when you got thrown on the ground, that would actually still count. So,
Okay.
just to keep that in mind. So any damage that she did directly to you with her body is no longer there.
Okay, cool. So an hour after if we do a short rest, then we can like help cut bricks and start filling up bricks and do that stuff.
Yeah, you can start with that. Silverthorn is starting with that. And we are going to take a break for right now. What ended up happening was I had a little issue with deleting the wrong things that I shouldn't have deleted. You know, when they ask you, hey, do you want to delete something for good and never to see it again? And I said, oh, yeah, I don't need this thing. And I got confused with the thing I was actually going to delete. And so we are missing a segment of the campaign, about an hour, which isn't too bad, but it was a nice role-playing hour. And I'm going to say kind of what I remember, and then everyone else can fill it in. You all get your questions answered. Bard and his two-part question, which offended the Fae. Gambit with his multiple questions, which he might have to pay for later. Silverthorn also asked a question, and Erevan also asked a question. Kane was denied a question due to him losing the fight.
It was a draw.
She was taking a victory swim, and she'll stand by that, because everybody knows what a victory swim looks like in her perspective. So I believe we are good for all your questions. So now we can say you are going back. I think you took a short rest and you're going back to the town. The town was recovering from the fire yesterday. And what they were doing was rebuilding a segment of the inn. They're laying down the stonework. They're kind of like readjusting it. Stephen and Gerald are checking out kind of what they could do, what could be different. They're getting a chance to redesign the section of the inn that's not laid out in stonework. So they're kind of taking their time, kind of figuring out what they're going to do and how they're going to do something different. And from there, I know that you each did something on your own. You talked to a blacksmith, and you also bought a few things, and you also talked with Darline about the arrangement for how much black gold you got. She was very excited about it, and she said that she was going to cut you in on the profits for helping her out making this contract that she is responsible for. She's going to get the contract completed, so that's going to keep her in good standing where she would have otherwise lost her standing with the noble she was selling things to. And she also offered to, while she was up there, sell your excess that you harvested as a thank you. And she still owes you a favor. And I know also you went to, after everything you were doing, you went down and you went to an area where you expected. Silverthorn kind of knows the lay of the land. He also knows where people tend to hang out and make camp, and he had the perfect spot that was a campsite, and it was a previous campsite. And you think that somebody in the area is close by. Maybe they're camped, or they just decided to have a lookout here. But there's some people in the area, and you don't know if they're bandits or whatever. I believe that's how far we got. And you were headed up, and you saw a light on one of the peaks, and one of the upper sections of the foothill, actually right by the mount, the little mount in the foothills of the Moridane Mountains, that Modir Drula explained to you is where you'll find things of interest, including a good cache of gemstone quality crystals.
But only one of us knows about that.
Well, yeah, Gambit asked for that as his question, and he asked it in Sylvan, so anyone that doesn't know Sylvan doesn't really know what he asked. And she replied in Sylvan because she liked his style. So you were also kind of aimed in that direction through other questioning and situations. So that's where you're at right now. You're on a hill overlooking a dip that goes to the mount where you see the trail was leading you there, as well as there's some firelight. It looks like it's poorly hidden light up on the mount. So if you want to fill in anything that happened before that, that would be really helpful. So I know Kane had a lot of cool stuff happen with his cart, and I want him to be able to talk about that first. And then everyone else can add to it.
Oh, it's short and sweet. Since the inn burned down while we were there, potentially being partially the cause, they needed to feed people, and they had all these people working on the inn and trying to continue to clean up and do all of that. So I volunteered my wagon to use as the first ever food cart. So now they're serving wine and beer and cheese and all that stuff out of the wagon, and it gives Drew, my dog, a place to hang out while we go in search of not random campers, but actual bandits that are supposed to be that are supposed to be the ones who might have called the methods to cause all this trouble. So we're trying to find them and stop them. So wagon's back in town, earning me some coin potentially, and we're out here camping. But that's what we do.
Bar, did you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, we had also stopped by the library and noticed some more signs of magic that wasn't explained from, I believe it's the librarian Helena. And at some point, we're going to go back and talk to her about that as well.
And I, in our wonderful contest with Modir Drula, I snatched the crown off of her head, which I still have, which we're looking into. It's very interesting. So, trying to find more information about that, and possibly selling it, of course.
Yeah, of course. Gambit.
Potentially looking into these bandits and their hideout in the foothills of the Moridanes, and looking into just exploring that area and whether or not they had anything to do with the methods in the township.
Silverthorn?
Yes, I recall we found a temporary camp lower in the hills, and we found tracks of what looked like possibly humans and methods heading up into the hills, and that's where we were following. We found this other camp. And Silverthorn, as she's following the tracks, her eyes are bright, and she's got a feral grin on her face. She just loves the hunt.
I just want to say, when we were at the blacksmith, I did manage to pick up a small selection of knives at the blacksmith shop. So I am ready for the bandits.
Oh yeah, and the only evidence we have that they are bandits is that the Fae told us they were bandits.
Oh yeah, she did actually say they were bandits?
Yes.
Didn't I thought Darlene also said that there were bandits in the hills.
Yes, she did say there were bandits in the hills.
Yeah.
Or random campers.
Just going on a nice sightseeing in the dangerous wild. All right, so that is our collective understanding of what happened based on the deleted files. And we will not make that mistake again. So what we're going to go forward with is now the continuation of the story. As I was saying, you ended the session on kind of like one of the tops, the crest of a foothill, and heading down. You probably see maybe it's another hour or so to get to where you need to go for the actual seeing, like around this campsite where this light is. And it looks like maybe they just lazily didn't go very far, or maybe they're prospectors, or could indeed be these bandits that have some kind of nefarious purpose in being around the area. But as I said, it is dark. It is getting to be very dark. It took you a good portion of the day to get to the camp, and then it took you the rest of the day to follow the tracks and trails up to this crest. Sorry about the error, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments below. While you're at, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, where we go into episode 3, part 1, stay nerdy.